Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to this session 6A. I am Anisha Mishra, the moderator of this session on behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 6th World Conference on Smart Trends in Systems, Security, and Sustainability through Zoom. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions through the day. There is a special note for all the presenters. You will be given 12 minutes for your presentation and 3 minutes for question and answers. On 10 minutes, I'll raise a gentle reminder. If you have any update or query, you can write it to me in the chat box. There's another request to all the participants that you please stay connected with us till the closing of the session. So just before we get started, I would like to introduce you all to the chair of the session, Professor Dalia Ahmed Magdi Hassan. She is an associate professor at CIC, Canadian International College. She was head of Information System Department in the French University in Egypt. She is the co-director of the CRI Research Lab and associate professor of Management Information System. Welcome to the session, ma'am.
Hello, thank you for your introduction. Thank you. Welcome to everybody. Well, I'm really happy to join you in this session. I hope everyone is going well. Thank you.
We are pleased to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll start with the papers. I would like to invite first presenter, U. Anant Nagu, to present his paper on a systematic review and future perspective of mental illness detection using artificial intelligence on multimodal digital media. Dear presenter, you may please start your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, one and all present. I would like to share my screen. So, is the screen visible?
Yes, it's visible. You can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Just give me a second. Okay, so I would like to present today my review paper on on systematic review and future perspective of mental illness detection using artificial intelligence and multimodal digital media. Myself, Anant Nagu, I'm working as an assistant professor in the PS University, India. It is located in Karnataka. And my supervisor is Dr. Pooja Agarwal. She is a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, PS University. So today, so abstract, I would like to present today the mental illness. How do we detect the mental illness using the social media platform? So as according to the WHO as well, and Lancet is a weekly report, journal report about the medical reports. So depression is one of the most common mental disorder, and it is a common psychological disorder. It is affecting 332 million people of all the age groups in all over the world. So according to WHO, the depression is going to lead the cause of disability as measured by the years that is lived with the disability that we call as YDLS. So, and fourth heading contribution to the global burden disorder of diseases. By the end of 2021 and 22, the depression is going to be projected to reach. So, in the second place in the ranking of DLI of calculated for all the age groups in all over the world. Today, depression is already the second cause of DLI. There is a daily that we can say it as like this. So you're lived with disabilities. So in the age group of 15 to 45 years. So as an estimation, so 3 to 4% of Indian population, especially I stay in India. So I just wanted to give you some statistics about India. So 3 to 4% of the Indians, that is 100 crores of the people suffering from this major mental disorder. And about 7 to 10% of the population also suffer from minor depression disorders. So if you're coming to Southeastern Asian region, so 11% of the people, 11% of DLS and 7% of the YDLS are attributed. So coming to this, especially the WHO already, as I mentioned, WHO mentioned So there are 332 million people are suffering from this particular mental disorder. So the mental disorder, usually we will not give that much attention to this particular disease, because everyone of maybe sometimes we are in a depression, but we won't be able to diagnose whether you are really in the depression or not in the depression. So coming to my research review paper, so I have considered the research papers from 2015 to 2021. So currently up to current year. So I have gone through a lot of papers, and I just wanted to present here the future perspective and the research oriented direction for the people who are working in this particular area. So I have collected all the papers with respect to the social media. Social media gives us a lot of clues about the person, whether he's in a depression or not. So nowadays people are very casual to post their emotions in the for social media. So by using that social media platform, we are able to collect the data and we are able to analyze the data, and we can just give an indicator as a first prognostic or diagnosis to the people, saying that you are in a depression or not in a depression. So as I mentioned, these are some of the statistics about the WHO. As I mentioned, 7.5% of the total Indian population is suffering from this particular mental disorder. And by global, it is 4.3% of the global disease, and it is the main cause of the disease of burden. It is in wealthy nations as well in by 2030. So depression is going to be one of the most common disorder in all over the world, in especially in India. Is also 45.7 million people are suffering from it. So even the doctor from very famous doctors from good medical colleges has also mentioned that they need to seek a medical assistance for depression, like any other diseases like COVID or diabetes or any other TB or tumors. So we won't accept the depression as a medical problem. So that we need to understand why the depression is going to be the very important major aspect in the life. Okay, that we need to understand, and we have to go for the medical assistant. So there are a lot of there are different types of mental illness, where I'm particularly I'm just concentrating on depression, so that we can identify the people who are in depression from the social media platform. So coming to my research, whatever the literature review I have gone through. So I have gone through a lot of papers with the text, images, and video and audio as well. So I have gathered a lot of papers, and I have gone through the techniques what and all they have used, like NLP, machine learning, and deep learning, and the transfer learning. So especially when it comes to the medical field, especially in case of depression, the data what we are getting is very small in terms of data. I mean the data set, and the validation of the data is also very difficult to do validation, because the people may post today maybe he's in depression, and he may post that he is in depression, but after some time he might be good in more, so he might not be in the depression. So it's very difficult for anybody to identify whether he's in a depression or not. So considering all these aspects, so I have gone through a few papers, like from 2015 to 2021 with all the reputed journals. Okay, so first in the journals IEEE, Elsewhere, and SCM, and all the medical journals, Lancet, MedPad, everything I have gone through, and I have come up with a beautiful literature over here. So if you want, like, I have listed in a table, so what technique they have used, and why they have gone to that, and what was the accuracy they got it. So here I just listed a few papers from 2015 to 2021. So with a different learning model like machine learning, deep learning, and transfer learning as well. So they have started with SPM, random forest, CNN, ANN, and we also go for LI in case of natural language processing. They have used the word embedding, they have used bag of words, they have used linguistic WIWC, sorry, LIWC, LDA, Ngram techniques. So many techniques they have gone through to identify the person whether he's in a depression or not, by extracting the data from the Twitter, in Facebook, Reddit, a lot of social media platforms. So these are the summary of those the techniques what and all they have gone through in each and every paper. So, and I just come up with the challenges and the future implication that can be the future work for the researchers or scholars who are in this particular problem statement. So the first thing is the quality of data and the model interpretation is very difficult. As mentioned, the data set, collecting the data from the social platform is very difficult. I mean, difficult in the sense we will get a data maybe in the small size size is very small, but the validation of the data is very difficult. Detection of mental illness over the time, as I mentioned, we have to detect the post, whatever the user is going to post on a social media for a particular period of time, maybe 3 months or 2 months. It is not related like 1 week or 2 weeks we should see, and we should not classify him or she has a depression. So we have to look for over a period of time, maybe in the monthly or weekly or a device, and then we can go for the whether he is in depression or not. And multi-classification of mental illness is also very challenging. So basically, each person can have different types of mental illness like anxiety, stress, and depression, and bipolar diseases. So that is very difficult to classify. So that is again one of the future implications that can be done. Reprocessing of data is very challenging because there are the post consist of local languages or sometimes some emojis, some stop words, some white spaces, some images also. So that classification, pre-processing of data is very difficult. So that can also be taken as a challenge, and we can go ahead with the future research. And length of the post. So usually when we go for shorter length of the post, maybe 100 words, so it's not sufficient to diagnose a person whether he's in depression or not. So we can just go for a lengthy post. So we can just go for minimum of 500 words or 600 words, and we'll also go for over a period of time. So that is also need to be considered when we are going to do a research on that particular user. And coming to multilingual content. So usually people nowadays use both English as well as the local languages where they stay. English is very popular, so we can easily get the data set and we can easily analyze the things. But coming to the multilingual local region languages, especially in the southeastern like Indian languages, so there are very less research happened with respect to local region languages. So actually, even I'm also working on that particular context. So that is working on the local language text and identifying the depression or a mental illness by a particular person. And I'm also having MOU with the National Mental Health Organization, that is NIMONS. So where we can consult. I have consulted so many like psychiatrists to form a questionnaires, all those things, and try to understand whether how to detect a person who's in depression or not. And data disparity is one of the biggest challenge for us to deal with. And publicly available data set, there are a lot of publicly available data sets in Kaggle and a lot of other public websites, open access journals are also available. But coming to the validation, it is not so. I mean, it is not up to the mark. So we need to consider even the uh, publicly available data set, whether it can be accessible or not. So that is also very important. Now, coming to the future aspects, I have considered mainly um, the languages, methods, the type of the data, and extraction multiple data sources that can also be explored a little more in a rigorous way. So we can use various information can be collected from social media, namely Twitter, Instagram, sorry, and Facebook and Reddit, etc. And we can also look for some of the online forums. So some of the online forums also we can just go ahead and we can just have a. There are a lot of challenges is happening in the online like e-risk, CLIFI. So there also we can go ahead and we can collect the data from there, and we can go and analyze the data. So especially the Reddit is having a lot of data, and there is a self-reported diagnosis, and they have used a lot of NLTPK like stop words removal, absolute words and pronouns, emotional based, all such techniques they have been used to understand how to classify a person is in depression or not. Coming to future perspective, so we can just work more on the the images. Right now, the people are working on images. We can also work on the audio. We can also work on the video. So basically, audio and video, we can just go ahead and just like texting. So we can also go and extract the data from the social media, and we can just analyze the data, and we can classify whether it's in a depression or not. So it is going to help the people to seek a lot of, seek the treatment early, and he can be diagnosed properly. So basically, lot of experiment is happening or the research is happening on the English language, but not on the indigenous languages. So we can go further, like future scope can be given on investigating the Indian languages, like some of the local languages, and try to extract the data. And we can implement the model neural, like machine learning model or deep learning models. Coming to the conclusion of my review paper, I have gone through, as I mentioned, a lot of papers with from 2015 to 2021. And I have come up with a lot of challenges and future perspectives for the scholars to work further about this particular area. So here we can have a early diagnostic system or a machine learning model or deep learning model to any of the users, so they can use it and they can check whether they are in depression or not. So it is going to provide you a basic early diagnostic or a prognostic for the people to know whether they are in depression or not. Basically, the people who are in depression, they are not going to seek any doctors, okay, because it will just go away after some time, they'll think. But it is a major problem that we need to tackle. So by this research, I understood that so we can have a data from the social media and we can analyze the people who are in depression or not. And we can also have a multidisciplinary communication network so that we can gather a lot of information and we can go ahead applying for the machine learning model or integrating with the deep learning model and to classify whether he is in a depression or not. So this is all about my research. I mean the review paper which I gone through. These are my references. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. Your topic is very nice and interesting. It's and trendy at the same time. Thank you. Actually, I don't have any questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your great presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so now I would like to invite our next presenter, Than, to present his paper on e-service quality, a literature review and research trends. Okay, so there is a change in the presenter. Now, Tuan will be presenting the paper on behalf of Than.
Hello everyone, my name is Tuan. Okay, today I will represent my partners to talk about the topic e-service quality, a literature review and research trends. Okay, it's some short introduction about myself. That is, I come from Vietnam, from the Banking University of Vietnam, and our groups just has 4 people. And today, in my topic, in my presentation, we will just have 5 main parts. The first one is the introduction, the reason why our group chose this kind of topic. And next one is the literature review and about the ESQ measurement. The ESQ here, I mean the e-service quality. And the fourth part it is about the direction of future research of e-service quality, and the last one about the conclusion. Okay, to talk about the introduction today. As we can see at the moment, with the new rise of a lot of kinds of electronic commerce channels to buy products, and the budgets are here, and we, the big budgets and buyers, have a lot of choices to conduct our buying. And that's the reason why we want to dig a little deeper about that thing. And the e-channels is the first thing we need to talk about here. And in particular, so we can say the e-channels here, or can we say the electronic service quality is prominent because we, the buyers, need to know the good things from what kind of website and which we should pay, which we should trust to buy. Next one. That is, and when we conduct this kind of research, we also talk about the method, that is how we synthesize the scientific documents with priority, even from the years from 2000 to 2020. That's because from 2000, we have the appearance or the rise of Amazon. And after that years, many kinds of different websites just follow that kind of e-channels to appear in the market. Last one here, we have the study of objectives is to approach the concepts related to the e-service and the potential benefits and e-service quality concept. And last but not least, the study also analyzes, compares, and comments and evaluates the issue related to ESQ. About a concept, I will talk about this later in the next slide. Here, about our paper, e-service quality also means that the attributes of ESQ and the overall ESQ, the components of ESQ quality and its outcome, and e-service quality, the relevance across contexts. And in the final part of the topic today, we will offer a model for everyone to consider about the ESQ service. Getting back to the related concepts, we have two main concepts to talk about here. That is the electronic service, or we can say now that is the e-service. It's something referred to providing services on the internet, including the electronic commerce, and also involve non-commercial services. Somehow this kind of thing can be related to the brick and mortar shops, because we also deliver some comparison about the good and bad things of the traditional shops with the new shops, that is the electronic shops at the moment, and the service they may offer to the customers and the buyers. The next one that is about the service quality is also the association between the buyer's expectation with the response performance. Is we also talk about some different characteristics, that is about reliability and something availability of the service. About the e-service quality. So what is e-service quality? Here we have some definition, that is, this is also the assessment of service quality in the virtual market. It also determines the success and effectiveness of website customer satisfaction. That means it's something the other authors and the literature of the e-commerce, and we just try to dig deeper to see how good and bad the current situation of the shops just conduct to the customers. And the next one, that is about the two different scales for measuring ESQ. That is the ESQ scale. It contains 4 different characteristics. Those kind of individualities contain availability, privacy, fulfillment, and efficiency. And the extended ESQ scale, which is related to the responsiveness, the compensation, and contact the customers. About the attributes of ESQ and the overall ESQs, we also discuss about the various models that have been employed to evaluate ESQ. That is, how good and bad, and how can we know this kind of model is good, it's better than the other ones. We just did some research about the web designs and security of privacy, and they all are shown in all parts of the studies. On the system availability, and are less likely to exploit in research, because maybe in the next paper we will write more about the system availability. But now we don't, in this paper, it's not about the system availability. For the distinct model, here we have theoretical overlap and distinction between the models. About the components of ESQ quality to its outcomes. That is to say, the originated from the purchaser satisfaction, the service quality, and the multiple attribute approach offers a theoretical basis to understand the ESQ. For some reason, because the theory somehow it just collapse to each other. So that's why in some attribute, the approach just offer something we need to make clear again. So that's why it's a big gap to understand clearly the ESQ here. This dimension can reveal various higher classification depending on consumer goals and the consumption setting. Finally, the relationship between the concepts and empirical research is a key factor in determining the importance of each attribute type and dimension. Okay, about the e-service quality, and here also one thing I want to talk about is the previous research reveals distinctions among the countries in e-service quality with the notion of technology, the related industry. Okay, what we see here that is the maintaining of relationship between different ESQ dimensions and the overall ESQs, which nations level could manipulate. And this is the table, we can say that is the models we just try to employ in the paper. As you can see, we have numerous authors which just conducted the related theories. That is, we have a circle, and the approach they aim to raise about the customer most, and some they just focus on the organization and even the learners, and the attribute of ESQ antecedent and ESQ outcome, they just vary. So in the paper, somehow we just find some interesting results, which you can see if you have time to read deeper. For the conclusion of our topic, that is, this research indicates that the origin of the concepts and e-services and ESQs. Besides, the research results also provide related issues of e-services and ESQ, the properties of ESQ and overall ESQ, and for sure, the relation between the context of ESQs. And our study offer many more ways of measuring the ESQs. At the moment, it's not the perfect one, but I think thanks to our topic, on our paper, the other researchers can have some knowledge and have some data to have with their paper. And in our research, we have just highlighted the challenges and the future research dimensions of ESQ, and the research results will be the premise and scientific basis for the future studies on ESQ. Okay, this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you for your efforts.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for, no, thank you actually.
Yeah.
Thank you for your great presentation. Okay, so now I would like to invite our next presenter, Irina, to present her paper on the title, How Predictive Software Engineering Creates Effective Business Solutions Through Custom Software Development. Dear presenter, you may please start your presentation.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. Today we will present the topic of our paper, How Predictive Software Engineering Creates Effective Business Solutions Throughout Custom Software Development. Let me share my screen, just a second. Do you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, So predictive software engineering is a methodology, and it was initiated by the founder and CEO of Entetics, Boris Kontsevoi, and promoting together with the team. So Boris, he is a professional with 30+ years of leadership in custom software development. He has more than 14 scientific publications, and he is also creator of Tetra. This is a methodology to assess technical depth in your IT project. And together with the team, we are promoting predictive software engineering like a methodology. And also the co-authors like Sergey Kizyan, our delivery director, has a huge experience too. 15 years in software development, and me, Irina Dubovic, I'm digital marketing expert with more than 19 years of experience. Also together with us is presented my colleague, our CTO, who is implementing predictive software engineering on a daily work. And please join the Q&A session and at the end of this presentation to ask more in detail how it works in the company. If to talk about predictive software engineering background, so this is a reliable, systematic approach that allows to deliver software development services in a transparent way. So the customer could understand in the beginning what he or she will receive at the end. So this methodology is not about like created by only Intetics. Yes, it's based on our 27+ years of software development, but we are developing this methodology together with experience and global engineering best practices. So it means that engineers from worldwide, they are sharing their best practices, for example, codes or profiles or files or processes or whatever is connected to the methodology. So predictive software engineering helps to transform custom software development products into successful high-quality business solutions. It allows to make transparent products and services that fit budget constraints, and also provide strategies and best practices, methodologies, and relevant KPI, both in internal team and to your potential customer. Predictive software engineering, this is a framework initiated by Intetics. We are developing it with a global pool of talented professionals. And it's a framework that addresses bottleneck of custom software development products and reconstruct the reliable approach to delivering software development services. Predictive software engineering consists of 7 specific concepts. Together, they ensure transparency as well as render the process controllable and predictable in its essence. So let's have a look on each of them. So first, meaningful customer care. No matter what kind of business you have, B2B, B2C, or the organization, the focus is always on your customer. If your customer don't recognize you, the value, so, or another way, recognize, it will buy from you, it will make a purchase. And we collected 8 strategies that improve customer satisfaction. Customer portal, smooth onboarding process. It means when you build a team for the customer, transparent governance model, coherent escalation path, early problem discovery, deep analysis of customer complaints, and of course, analytics of customer satisfaction and realistic expectation delivery to the customer. The second principle is transparent end-to-end control. So transparency is crucial in business world, as it indicates cooperation, trust, and openness. And it considers both internal transparency and external transparency. So here are some principles like methodologies or what help to be transparent. Governance of meetings, teamwork tracking tools, status reports for each project, project portal support and tracking, process audit, internal transparency, regularly check in with PMs, synchronized meetings with department directors that could attend, company-wide team building, talent management team participation in teamwork. So this allows to make the process transparent and controllable. Proven productivity. So every organization should strive to prove software engineers' productivity. And it could be very difficult, but you can use 2 tools to measure their velocity and productivity during development: the measurable quality management and technical debt reduction system, as well as the KPI for software development efficiency. So, there are collected from best practice of engineering community principles presented on the slide. Efficient distributed teams. So Today, organizations are no longer limited by their physical locations. The distributed team model has made it possible to assemble a global work. And there are huge benefits from distributed teams. Cost saving, time effectiveness, and you have access now to talent pool diversification. And of course, due to this, let's say, distribution, sometimes we have lack of communication. That's why it should be built a good communication system inside and outside the team. There are a lot of methodologies of creation and development of the custom software development project. But from our experience, we understood that the best one is disciplined agile delivery. It's highly effective for services organization. It differs a little bit from traditional agile methods. It comprises 3 phases: inception, where you understand all customer needs and make all vision agreements and so on. The construction, when you make sure to address the changing of needs of stakeholder or improve or maintain current level of quality and address the largest risks. And transition, when you make sure that solution is ready to go to production. The 6th, measurable quality management and technical debt reduction. So those systems could be used to assess software quality level measure and its technical depth. The system is relevant to everyone working with the software product. Developers and testers receive an objective assessment of their work. Managers receive feedback on the project's overall capacity, and users receive a reliable and high-performing product. Furthermore, the system is relevant to investors. With the help of the results, they could assess investment risk and define the software's fair market value of the IT project. 7th principle, sound human development. You could think about the HR or HR department, but humans aren't resources. Rather, they are agents that set their own goals, further their skills, and make decisions. When you contribute to human development, you are doing more than improving your workforce skills. You are also strengthening their loyalty and providing a sense of fulfillment. Here you could choose like benefit program, mentors program for your team, performance review, career goals, or skills improvement. Upon adopting predictive software engineering and implementing the above listed principles, a software development team will reduce many risks, such as not defined scope of the project, for example, when executive could not participate in the project, and meaningful customer care will make the process transparent. Then faulty estimates, resources shortage, unclear decisions, poor training, infrastructural delays. So predictive software engineering cover complex of challenges and help to resolve them. We are only in the beginning. So it means that we collected all best practices from Intetics experience and from global engineering community. And now we published several articles, and this is like a community. So we invite other development companies or organizations to join us. It would be great to join forces with companies who want to improve their processes and create together a clear understanding of methodology on how to make IT project predictable for needed of each person or the organization. And we are planning to publish a book. So in our paper, you would find also references to those articles that was published before. But I would like to propose you to ask questions to my colleague, Alexey Velesnitsky. He's our CTO at Intetics, and he's implementing this methodology on a daily basis and know exactly how it works in real life. So please feel free to ask questions, and also we are ready to share with you all materials that you are interested in.
Hello, everyone. Irina, thanks for the great presentation.
Hello.
Any questions?
No, thank you. I think your research is very important for many organizations to improve their work. Thank you.
I would like to clarify some additions from the Irina speech. Basically, the PSC is mostly framework, not the methodology, because basically we rely on a different structured approach to a problem solving. The main problem we're trying to solve is to make engineering process more predictable. If we take into account the agile methodology, so the predictive software engineering is kind of bigger than that, because we're trying to take in account also the customer responsibility, the sound human development. So we try not only to provide teams, but also teach them and invest in the employees to be effective on the market. And I would like to say that this framework is mostly suited for the medium or large companies. For example, we have like more than 600 developers, all in different teams working on different products. So it's basically, it allows us to be more transparent and control what's going on in a particular project. When you have PSC as like a superset of a discipline agile delivery. So we basically took the discipline agile delivery and designed it that it's not only about the building a product, but also building the teams, making a good customer relationship, and making the whole development process a part of coding and shipping the deliverable increment predictable. So this is what PSC is all about.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And please contact us and join our community if you are interested in this framework, or you would like to join or share your experience.
Yes, please. You can. Please, you can write your email or contacts, or I use those contacts.
Yes, the contacts are on the screen, but you could go to intetics.com and you would find all information. And also, if you send an email or message, we will receive it and work same day.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for your effort. Thank you.
Maybe just please know that it's about predictive software engineering, the way we will understand that you come from this presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a good day.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind presentation. Our next presenter is Slavinka, and her paper title is a multi-dimensional model of wireless sensor data equality. The presenter, you can start the presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, you can start.
I will present our paper, a multidimensional model for wireless sensor network data quality. This model, one moment only, I want to arrange my screen. Our model actually links the types of errors with the methods for their detection and correction. The designed model aims to support the wireless sensor network management. It provides a possibility to monitor the status of the network regarding the sensor data quality indicators and to predict the future development of the wireless sensor networks. We can consider the following sensor data quality indicators. We cannot consider all these indicators separately, and applying a cleaning strategy for one of them may reflect to another indicator. Also, there are relationships between them. For example, there is a positive correlation between the indicators of completeness and data volume, as well as between correction and tune-related indicator. Therefore, there are recommendations for the order of cleaning specific errors. For example, it is preferable to evaluate the volume of the data set in the beginning, and if it is large enough, to continue with cleaning by completeness indicator, then by time-related indicator, and finally by correctness indicator. We can distinguish the following fault diagnostic approaches regarding the architectural structure of the network. Centralized approach is the first one. There is a centralized node which manages the faults of the overall network. This approach needs high computational resources, a big memory size, and continuous energy supply. The biggest disadvantage of this approach is that it is not applicable to large wireless sensor networks because it requires a huge number of communications of the nodes with the center. Also, it causes a significant diagnostic delay, which affects the operation of the network in real time. A distributed approach can be applied to large networks, but it also has drawbacks. For example, single sensor nodes usually don't have enough computation capacity to apply machine learning algorithms for error detection and correction. Also, when some nodes become faulty, it affects the neighboring nodes. The hybrid approach combines both approaches. Regarding the data streams, we can distinguish univariate data streams, which are coming from only one sensor type, or multivariate data streams, when a node monitors different factors at the same time, or a node collects data from other nodes which monitor only one factor. The majority of data streams are multivariate, which makes the process of fault detection more complex and expensive. The other part of the model is sensor types. Here, we presented the sensor types which we consider. At the sensor level, it is possible to improve the sensor behavior by a so-called basic quality improvement, which involves calibration and measurement reconstruction. The goal is to mitigate the fault effect. We set the following goal of achieving wireless sensor networks reliable quality: to access the quality of the network by detecting incorrect data, and sensor data quality improving, for example, by data error correction. Functions related needed to achieve the goals are, from one side, functions related to the system state. They are oriented to find the presence of faults, and system data oriented functions. They include some sensor data processing, for example, calibration, filtering, correction, and reconstruction of data. Here, we summarize the methods and algorithms used to achieve the goals and to perform the functions. The various methods and approaches can be organized into different classifications. For example, in general, the methods can be classified into two main groups. Unsupervised methods, for example, clustering, statistical analysis, PCA, voting, and supervised methods like inference, artificial network, neural network, behavioral like rule-based, decision-free, fuzzy logic, event algebra, etc. Supervised methods require data to be pre-labeled as normal or abnormal. If the algorithm is trained on normal data, but it can recognize abnormality, It is called semi-supervised. In the next table, we present the hybrid methods, which usually combine two different methods in order to provide the advantages of both methods. The correspondence between the types of errors and the methods for their detection and correction is of the type many to many. That's why the selection of the appropriate method to find and eliminate a concrete sensor error is a very complex task. It is seen that the majority of the methods are oriented to outliers. The second biggest group of methods are oriented to the noise and missing data. Also, the majority of the correction methods are applied to eliminate the missing data and noise. It is interesting to investigate the percentage of deleted and eliminated errors by each of the methods, the time and costs spent for processing the errors, the concentration of errors in the different segments of the network, the influence of the environmental factors to the sensor data quality, and the process of its improvement, and many other related topics. That's why we designed a multidimensional model of wireless sensor data quality. In this picture, you can see only a simple example of a three-dimensional model, but in fact, it is multidimensional. And here I present the most important dimensions. All of them I already explained. The measures in the multidimensional model include the number of errors detected or corrected by a given method, error frequency, the time and costs for error diagnostic and elimination, etc. Using the OLAP technology, it is easy to summarize the measures at all levels of the hierarchies captured in the indicated dimensions. On the basis of the data accumulated in the cube, it becomes possible to choose the best method for detecting or correcting a specific type of errors in the same environment. This model provides an opportunity to have a complex picture of the wireless sensor network quality. The main advantage is its decision support function in the process of the network management. It allows status monitoring both at the sensor level and at the network level. Linking the types of errors classified according to different criteria with the respective methods for their detection and elimination allows to improve the quality of the network and to forecast their future condition and development. In order to build quality forecast models for the detection of abnormal data, it is necessary that the data on which the model is built is cleared of noise and errors that could affect its quality. The proposed model is open and allows to add hierarchies to include new types of taxonomies on the basis of the required analysis. For example, it is interesting to study the influence of the environment on the occurrence and elimination of errors, influence of factors such as temperature, humidity, wind, solar radiation, irrigation events, etc., and deserve to be monitored and studied. Here are the references and acknowledgements. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you for your nice presentation.
Ma'am, do you have any questions for her?
No, actually, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, okay, so I would like Now I would like to invite our next presenter, Mizu, to present his paper on the title, Implementation of a Hybrid Information System in an Intelligent Health Gateway. Dear presenter, you may please start your presentation.
Yes, I'm here. Can I read my presentation?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone, and hello, dear organization member. My name is Monsieur Gilles-Mos. I'm a temporary teacher at Faculty of Science Ben Misik in Morocco. Well, before starting my presentation, I would like to thank the organization member for beautiful conference, rich and dense, an opportunity that give you to present my research work. So, during my presentation, I will start with an introduction to set the context of my research. Then introduce you to the architecture of Smart Health Gateway and data source recognition and classification system. 4, I will give a presentation of advanced data processing methods. 5, data compression mechanisms. And I will end with a conclusion. Nowadays, the volume of data generated by sensor and health device is growing exponentially, which is why IoT solution for health must include a robust and intelligent information system to properly manage the data. This is the case of my intelligent gateway, which has the capacity, on the one hand, to locally integrate and advances information processing system and data compression mechanisms to take corrective measures for the storage and transmission of data. On the other hand, facilitate data integrity and optimizing bandwidth. These methods are techniques for optimizing data processing in terms of recognition, storage, and transmission to the cloud. Let's start with the architecture of Smart Gateway for Health. The architecture is composed of 3 levels. First level is that of the wireless body sensor network, which is named WS4. We see here a set of sensors that are placed on a person's body, and these sensors are connected to access point, which is called sensor node. The second level is that of smart gate of health. We can notice that our intelligent gateway receives the data coming from the sensor. Then it's my process data. And third level is that of the cloud. After data processing, the data is sent to the remote server for the use of application and other services. In addition, the gateway has communication services to notify the doctor of healthcare center. Now, the local data processing of gateway required the system of recognition of data source. This is why this figure shows a brief data compression architecture and the smart choice of data format compressed. First, the original data flow is subject to verification system of data source recognition and data format done by a controller's agent called data flow analysis. Second, the identified data is subject to a compressor agent specified to the data type and performance criteria of each compression algorithm. Third, the compressed data is stored and transferred to the cloud through the data controller agent. Now let's get to the fifth, which is to introduce the advanced data processing method. In this part, we have the centralized data processing, the random data processing, and the dynamics data processing. Let's start with the central data processing. Centralized data processing is divided into three phases. The first phase, reduce the data flow. The decrease in data flow occurs when the compression node is stable. The second phase, make it possible to transmit the data to the local processing unit. The data is managed by a custom program consisting of 3 local storage functions. And the third phase allows you to manage and store your data collection directly in an in-memory database and temporary basis. As part of the data recording with an in-memory database, we use 2 techniques: column-oriented data management and row-oriented data management. Now let's talk about the second processing method, which is random data processing. The second part of research was to random process the data sent while the WS4 of compression node is stable. This method makes it possible to merge the data transmitted to the local processing unit according to their nature and their source. This fusion is carried out thanks to a processor called execute trimming command, which uses a custom data instance to transform all to data into single data block of limit size. Now, this part I can to level. Sequence fragment the large data set into data subset in distribute, then a data block 5 for storage. And randomly take a sample of each subject of storage data, then upload to the cloud as block of 5. So in this part, I talk here the dynamics data processing. This method consists of dynamics choosing, which is node to query in order to improve the data processing frequencies and reduce the local storage space. 1. A global variable are used to control pausing and resuming data transfer. When the storage data volume reach its upper limit, data transfer is stopped, and when this volume reach the loader limit, transfer is resumed. 2. We have implemented the asynchronous data transfer mode to determine the start and end of data transfer. Here we have defined a data transfer state to come to know that the data processing is running. Data compression mechanics. In this part, I have 3 levels. First level, predictive compression. simpling compression. First, compression by shielding. 1. Predictive compression. A predictive model is established when simply the data stream from the sensor, so that future values can be predicted with near accuracy. In addition, which data node is characterized by a predictive data model managed by a data model manager according to the measured parameters, data type, processing time, and sensor ID. Second part, sampling compression. It is based on predefined data collection criteria, type of data collection time, size of data to be coded. In addition, a sampling pattern is established when the data is first collected, so that future value can to predict with very good accuracy. This approach reduces the number of data sent as well as the amount of data compressed for each sample. Third, compression by shielding.
Sorry for the interruption. You have only 1 minute left. Please conclude your presentation.
Okay. In conclusion, in this work, we propose a new implementation of intelligent and hybrid information system in our gateway intent for biomedical implication. In this, a great importance in real-time data processing. As a result, the design of our solution derives from the techniques of recognition data resource of their original formats. These techniques allow, firstly, to optimize the storage space thanks to advanced data processing techniques. And in second step, automate the intelligent choice of the best data compression mechanism that integrate the data compression algorithms according to the metrics criteria. Finally, in the first step, integration application programming interface API for the management of messagery and automate call folding and urgent situation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your presentation and your effort in the research.
Thank you for your great presentation. So now I would like to invite our next presenter, Christos Gomopoulos, to present his paper on the title, Personalized Exergaming for the Elderly Through an Adaptive Exergame Platform. Dear presenter, you may please start your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Let me share the presentation. Okay, it's a great pleasure for me to attend this conference. The co-author of this work is Mr. Karapapas, also from University of the Aegean. So let me first discuss the background of this work in terms of motivation. According to a recent report by the United Nations on world population aging, the global population of older adults, that is adults aged 65 years or over, will be 1.5 billion in 2050. Furthermore, aging will often lead to both cognitive and physical negative changes, like decline in balance and physical strength, which is related with various problems, such as a high risk of falling. Studies have shown that exercising through games, that is exergames, appears to be promising for home-based balance and strength training for healthy elderly. Exergaming can motivate people to practice, and by performing dual tasks, users can train both cognitive and motor skills. Our approach is explored in the context of a research and development project called Game2O, meaning gaming your way to aging well. The Game2O project will develop a new platform with the aim to support physical activities through exergames that are suitable for seniors by integrated multiple enabling technologies and intelligent software to create adaptable gaming experiences. A particular objective of Game2O is the application of machine learning algorithms to analyze the data collected by the platform in order to define more effective exercise programs by adapting the difficulty level to the profile of each user. The Game2O platform architecture, as shown in the figure, consists of several layers. The adaptation layer is the focus of this work. It is responsible for tailoring the parameters and elements of each game. And the key concern in the design of the adaptation layer is to be able to modify the parameters that have to do with the difficulty of the game. In addition to the difficulty, the adaptation layer will determine various elements that play a subordinate role in the game, having to do, for example, with the emotions they evoke in the player, and consequently with the overall experience of the player. One technology that is used in the Game2O platform is Microsoft Kinect. It's a sensor, it's a motion tracking sensor based on a depth camera recording technology for body tracking, for skeletal tracking. The device allows users to interact with computer application only with gestures, movements, and voice commands without the need of explicitly handling a controller unit. And for our games, in particular, the new Azure Kinect sensor is used, which besides offering body tracking services for capturing gestures and motions, it also provides advanced functionality that allows detection and identification of emotions. We follow an approach where the exercises are part of a scenario. We believe that such a choice may contribute to motivating older people to continue their activities, especially when the theme of the games uses environments and activities with which the participants are familiar. So in one game scenario, the player's mission is to collect olives from an olive tree land. And the mechanics of the game incorporate movements which were selected as appropriate exercises for fall prevention, while at the same time serving a specific goal in the gameplay. For example, side steps are used for selecting a tree to harvest. A rowing movement is used for spreading the olive collection sheet, while arms raising is used for harvesting crops. As a demo of this game, here is a short video. The avatar moves according to the real movements of the participant. Here is the side steps for selecting the tree, the rowing movement for the selection tree, and arm raising for collecting olives when olives are available in the tree. With respect to the main theme of the paper, which is supporting a personalized exergame experience for the elderly, the main concept is to develop a user-tailored approach to adapt the game difficulty in a transparent way. Actually, as the player, what it is required, as the player skill increases, the difficulty must also increase to keep a balance. More specifically, transforming the main concept into measurable targets, the adaptation layer aims to positively affect the motor and cognitive training of the elderly, to increase their interest in the game and prevent them from giving up training, to improve user experience, of course, and game playability, and to increase the number of positive emotions logged. These targets are measurable by using a series of metrics that derive from data gathered throughout the gameplay, such as completion time of the game, success rate, current face expression, if it is sad or happy, the player, users' answers to game questions, and other in-game data which are relative to measurable targets. The game variables that are configured by the adaptation layer can be distinguished into two main categories. The first category concerns variables related to the regulation of the game difficulty and also handling of the inhibition level of a subject. The second category concerns variables such as audiovisual effects and themes of in-game objects that could potentially affect the emotions of a subject. Sometimes there is a direct relation between a configurable variable and recorded metrics. For example, increasing the number of tasks the user is asked to carry out affects the completion time and success rate metrics of the game. That's normal. But this kind of relation does not always apply with all variables and metrics. For example, the music theme might not necessarily directly affect the user's emotion, and this makes difficulty a direct association. Therefore, all variables in both categories, those representing game difficulty and those representing user sentiment, are important aspects that potentially have some effect on the recorded metrics. And because of this non-standard relation between the configurable variables and the measurable metrics, this is the reason actually we need the adaptation layer and an artificial intelligence module to provide us with insights about this relation, this analogy. So the adaptation layer makes decisions for the adjustments of game elements based on input data that come from both the performance data of the current session of the game and from corresponding data from the previous sessions of playing the game by the player, which these data are stored in the platform repository. The input data are processed and given as input to machine learning models. The result is a set of output parameters that will modify the adaptable elements of a game. Typically, the output variables represent a series of game-specific values for in-game elements, such as the rate of objects' appearance, the available time to complete a specific task, or even the overall complexity of the environment. In a more simplified approach, the output variable can represent just a difficulty level on a range of predefined levels. This table provides, as an example, some of the game inputs and outputs that are handled by the adaptation layer, grouped for 3 of the platform games, one of which is the olive harvest that we saw in the video before. For the olive harvest game, for example, input variables may be game metrics from current and previous game sessions, and output variables may be the growing speed of olives and the number of physical exercises required to complete a specific game task. So in the case that the game difficulty is determined by a machine learning model, both the usage of a classifier and a more sophisticated model are required. The choice actually depends on the available data and the desired output. For example, the lack of available game data in the beginning of the platform usage will restrict the adaptation layer to use a simple classifier to determine the difficulty level based, for example, on the subject's demographics, gender, for example, age, and other profile information such as the cognitive and physical assessments, the cognitive level and the physical level that have been assessed before the intervention.
Sorry for the interruption. You have only 2 minutes left. Please conclude your presentation.
After spending some time then with the game platform, the gathered data would allow the adaptation layer to use advanced multi-output machine learning models that would automatically determine a series of values for the configurable parameters. Furthermore, regarding these multi-output models, since we are training them within game gathered data, we would need to either train one model per game or use a model of multi-regression type to take into account the fact that the data model of a subject could be extremely different for each game. For our future work, a future extension to this research is to adjust the value of key parameters controlling the game difficulty based on a fun prediction model. Also, the adaptation layer could be set up to include a process to automatically retrain the machine learning models, either periodically or upon the gathering of a certain amount of new data. In conclusion, an important component of the Game 2 architecture is the adaptation layer, which provides the mechanism to create adaptable game experiences by modifying the elements and parameters of a game. In this work, suitable machine learning models have been outlined for implementing an algorithm that can adjust the value of basic parameters related to game difficulty. This is our acknowledgement to the funding body. So thank you for your attention. If you have any additional questions or suggestions, please send us a message to our website contact form or use our email address. So thank you.
Ma'am, do you have any questions for him?
No, thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Okay, thank you also.
Thank you for your great presentation. Okay, so now all the papers have ended. I sincerely thank all the presenters for their excellent presentation and contribution in the session, and also all the participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope the session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for your support during this version and the previous 5th version of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 7th version in 2023. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already forwarded to Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of WS4. I also like to thank our session chair for chairing this session. Here is a token of appreciation for the chair from the team WS4 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation. Thank you for your valuable presence, ma'am.
Thank you, and I would like to thank all the team of this great conference and respectable conference. I would like also to thank all the researchers who participated in this session. I think that all papers and researches are very valuable and important at the same time. Thank you.
Also, I would like to thank Sir Amit Joshi, the chair of the session. Thank you for your valuable presence, sir. So as we have come to an end of the session, I would request you all to please switch on your cameras for a quick snapshot of this virtual conference. Okay, thank you so much. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank
See
you.
you soon. Bye.